All I know is 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗜𝗓.
Oh.
What is it? Tell
It
me. I
means
feel like
I
I'm
love you.
Tell me she loves me.
Oh, I feel like I'm wearing on the outer.
Love
Well,
you, dude. Love you both,
welcome to the BTB podcast. We are so excited to have you on and talk all things Instagram, Reels, but also your business because you have built a phenomenal business. We're so excited.
I'm so excited. I think everyone's going to just recognize the pink suit. Like, it is iconic. So we have Anneke on the show today from Pink Sparrow. And like Jenny was saying, I think it's really exciting because your page adds so much value for business owners. And obviously this is a Babes Talking Business podcast. Most of us are using social media. But we're excited to also give you the platform today to talk about like your business, like what inspired you to start, the life behind the scenes of running a business. And we're just excited to celebrate and recognize you as a business owner because you help business owners, but obviously you're in the thick of it too and you know what it's like. So juicy conversation today.
Yeah.
Juicy convo.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. And I love that because most of the time when I'm on a podcast, it's let's talk reels, but now it's like, what's behind the scenes? You've built a business.
Yeah.
So I like this.
Yeah. Well, I think our followers will definitely want to know about Reels a little bit. So maybe let's talk about that a tiny bit, but I want to get to know the woman behind the business and all the intricacies because that's what we love to talk about as well.
Before we do the rapid fire question for you, what's been your most recent fail or lesson?
Oh, big fail, massive fail. I invested a huge chunk on a business coach and I'm worse off than when I started. Oh, really hard. And a lot of it was like my fault because I didn't take my own advice of like, you know, really doing your research and making sure it's a good fit because this coach is great. Like they have amazing skills and their system works, but just not for me. And so that's a big lesson that I have to take. It's a heavy one, a heavy burden to carry, but whew.
Do you know what though? I always find when we make errors like this, there's always such a beautiful lesson in it. And it's an expensive lesson, but
so there's a saying that I always come back to, you don't always get what you want, you get what you need. And you probably got back. It's like
it cements your message. Like you're like, oh, my message, like of what I teach people.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. It was so expensive, but I needed to learn this.
Yeah, and trust your intuition. Like you said, you need to take your own advice on knowing who to work with and why you choose certain mentors. So
yeah.
Expensive lesson, but good lesson.
Great lesson. And it makes me realize that how important marketing is and understanding how you market yourself and if you can convey it the right way so it's not misleading and stuff. So
yeah.
What would you do differently next time while we're on this topic? For people who, because I know there's a lot of people who are like, I want to invest in a coach. So they feel like, what inspired you to want to invest in a coach and what would you do differently from that experience, knowing what you now know?
Yeah. So I wanted to take it to the next level up. So I thought the best way to do that is hire someone who knows how to do that, can get you there faster. My problem was I didn't ask enough questions. I thought I was following my intuition. I was like, yes, I like this person. I like their message. Let's just go. Like I have the money. Let's go. And I should have taken my time a little bit more and asked a few more questions. Yeah, that's a big lesson there.
Good advice.
Good advice. And so for people who probably recognize you, I feel like you're on everyone's feed. You have the viral reels. You're the girl with the pink suit. And like every time I'm like looking for a real idea, I'm like, oh, what has she got? Like she's giving me the tips. But for people who maybe don't understand or don't know you or your business, can you share a little bit about your business and what it is that you do?
Thank you. So I have a online business and I created an online course called Reels Academy. Basically, it's everything Reels. So for anyone who's a business owner who wants to learn how to create Reels and learn how to turn followers into sales, that's what Reels are for, and that's what my course is for.
Love it. And how long have you been doing it for now?
Well, Reels launched on my birthday in 2020. So 4 years Reels has been on, but I've been in marketing for a while.
For 4 years.
Feels like it's been forever, but also I remember when they first came out and me being like, I don't know how to do that. Like it felt like so far-fetched, but now it's like, oh, you do.
Do you remember our first reel we did? It was COVID and we were on my lawn and we did that song.
Yeah, I feel like we were rookie because at the start it happened when COVID was on and we were all on TikToks and we were trying to do all the dance ones. Was it a dance one? Or was it the big head one? We did that big head one.
It was the one where it was like, dun, 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 dun. You got to show me love. Remember that one?
No.
Anyway, I still have it on my TikTok down the bottom. It's horrendous. Don't go and look for it.
I'm going to go look for it.
years. And what inspired you? So what were you doing before you started your business, and what inspired you to start business?
So I was in uni doing marketing, and straight out of uni, I worked for a business doing their social media. And then I was hit with a big moment where I had to pivot. I got endometriosis, which meant 1 week of every month I could not work. Like, I'm a Dorito curled up in a blanket and my husband's passing me chocolate. Like, I'm in pain, put on a rom-com kind of thing. Yeah. And so as you can imagine, it's not really sustainable for a business. And so they let me go. And then there I was, no income. Like, what do I do? Like, I can't go to the same industry, or maybe I could go out on my own. Maybe I could make my own marketing agency and have my own clients. So that's what I did. You know, I was in the living room floor, papers everywhere, scribbling, drawing mind maps, and then literally just built it from nothing, from the ground up, because you can. And that's what's so cool about building a business, is you can build it however you want. And from then, I built a successful agency, but then another setback happened. So COVID happened, and a lot of my clients were shut down in Melbourne, or had to put their services on hold. And there I was again, no income. And I'm thinking, oh, I want to have a baby soon. There goes the baby fund. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I've hit rock bottom. So then I thought, hey, let's just pivot again. Reels are coming out. I'll switch from an agency to then coaching. So instead of fishing, I'm teaching a man how to fish.
I love it.
And that's sort of where it all began.
Wow. I feel like COVID was such like a pivotal moment for so many business owners, because so many people had to pivot, and those that didn't, like, have really suffered. So it's so cool to have someone here that's like, yeah, I use that as my fuel, and instead of using it as an excuse, I used it as my reason why. So that's so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it feels like you either grow from desperation or inspiration. And that time it was desperation, which then became inspiration.
Yeah.
I think it's because so many people, and I think what I love most about these podcasts is because we have a lot of girlfriends in our circle who are business owners in different industries. And like, I know we don't publicly talk about it. Like, this is why we wanted to have a podcast, to have the conversations behind life, behind businesses, behind the scenes, because a lot of us do have to pivot and we don't talk about it openly. And yes, sometimes it's out of desperation. Sometimes it's out of need because you want to be inspired again. And I love that we're having those conversations, because women who may be forced into a pivot, they're thinking it's a bad thing or they're resisting it, when it's like, but look what you've created since those pivots, like epic. So congratulations to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you have any business skills? Like, how did you learn business? Were you just like, I've got a background in marketing, or like, were you just like winging it and learning it along the way, or?
Pretty much. So it was a degree in business with a major in marketing, but nothing I learned from that degree I use now, like literally nothing. Most of it is just trialing and error and watching YouTubes, looking at what other creators are doing, and then thinking, okay, maybe I could try this. And then if it works, cool, let's double down. If it doesn't, okay, let's pivot again.
So cool. Well, so today you teach thousands of people how to market themselves online with Reels. So I'd love to talk about some trends and what's happening in that space right now before we get into the intricacies of behind the scenes, because I know from the conversations that I'm having with a lot of business owners, there's so much frustration about the lack of visibility, or the algorithm constantly changing, or the feeling of like needing to show up in a way that they maybe don't want to show up, but that's like what's trending or what's going viral, or they're feeling like, yeah, it's just like it's a big blue ocean sea and it's so crowded. So yeah, like, let's dive into that. What do you think is going on in the land of Instagram?
A lot is happening right now. There are more users on the platform. So the way that it's being used, the way that our users are using it has changed. I remember you said at the start of the podcast, the first Reels you did was like this dancing one. It was really fun with like the big head. Yeah. And at first that's what Reels were. You just have fun and you do dancing Reels. And then we've gone through all the eras. So we've had dancing, we've had transitions were huge at one point. Yeah. They're still good, but like they had like their peak.
Yeah. Lip syncs.
Oh, I love that. I want to bring it back.
Yeah, so do I. I loved those. I was really good at that.
Yeah, I was going to say that was your thing. That was your jam.
You could really get into character.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the best. Role playing. And now we're seeing the rise of what's called B-roll footage. Yeah. It's the easiest content to create, and it's everywhere right now, and you can keep posting because you batch create all this footage and then you can repurpose it in multiple different ways. So that's pretty handy right now for business owners. Anyone who's thinking, oh, I can't post, like, what do I film? Just film whatever you're doing in your day-to-day, and then you can use that as content. That's what's working right now. He also did mention that perhaps maybe you don't want to do B-roll because everyone's doing it. Maybe we don't all want to look like pages that are pouring lattes and opening up laptops. They're everywhere.
And pretending to type.
Yes, pretending to type. Maybe not even showing their face.
Yeah.
It's a good place to start with those because it's trial and error. But what I really recommend doing is leaning into your unique voice. Is it maybe like role play where you can get the characters to come out? Think, what is it that my audience needs to learn right now, and how can I communicate that in a way that's authentic to me? And a way that you can communicate your authenticity is to actually share your opinions on things. And I remember I used to be so scared to share an opinion because I thought, I'm going to lose followers, I'm going to lose customers and sales. But the magical thing that happened is all of the wrong people left. And then the right ones were messaging me saying like, girl, I'm fangirling your soul right now. And like, that's what you want to do with your content. And the only way to do that is to actually share your values. And that's how you brand yourself with your reels, whatever you associate yourself with.
Yeah. I've heard that sometimes it's actually okay to post about like a controversial topic because it does kind of like divide your audience, and some people will be really polarized and be like, I disagree, like that's not cool. But then you get all your diehard fans that are like, yeah, someone's speaking my language. And you know me, I'm not the type to be controversial, but I tried it once recently and I was like, wow, that really worked.
I was like, did I miss this post? What was the controversial post about?
I'll show you later.
You're like, I don't know if I want to go back there.
Yeah.
Tab that. Another thing to look up.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is my hallucination because we've been in online space now for, is it 8-9 years with our business?
Mm-hmm.
So we've definitely seen trends, and I feel like, I don't know if it's just because we've personally gone through an evolution too. I think we'll talk about this too, because since we became mums, I think we felt evolution personally, and we have personal brands. So I feel like our brand evolved personally. But then I also feel like, I don't know, sometimes you got to got your goggles on. You can't take advice from everyone, but I felt like I was in flow for a while with my social media and it felt really good and it was just an extension of my values. But then I just like started taking on this advice on like having this like divide between business and personal, and like don't share anything personal. And I noticed a lot of big influencers did that too. They stopped. It was just like, this is a business page. I'm here for business. And you stopped seeing everything else behind the scenes. And like, it was good because there wasn't much on their stories. It was just a lot of selling on their stories. And I understand. And even I, similar to you, invested in a business coach this year, and she was teaching very much the same. It was like, if it's not relevant to the services that you share, like don't share it. But my approach for the last 7 years in business was like, I build rapport by showing me, like you get to know me. So I was like, I'd love to know your opinion on that. Have you noticed that's been a trend that people have kind of bought into, and or is that just my hallucination, or is that the advice that you're hearing a lot of coaches share right now, or what's your stance on that?
You're not hallucinating.
Okay.
There's no oasis. I have noticed a lot of coaches are saying this on Instagram. They're saying you have to have a complete divide, keep your personal away from your business, but there's a fine balance within that we can come to. We can find that equilibrium of, yes, I can talk about my business on my reels and then maybe my story. When I do open up on my personal life, it's with the purpose of connecting with someone who has that experience or those exact same values. So the way in which we share our personal life is strategic. It's to target a specific type of person. It's to connect with them more, and so that they can understand who we are and build the trust. But I would recommend, slowly doing it, not just going from all business to then bam, motherhood.
Yeah.
Slowly doing little drips, seeing how your audience responds. That's the best thing.
Yeah, test and measure.
Yes, never guess, always test. How do people respond? Am I getting the green flags? All right, cool, I can do a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
And then still sticking to your core pillars so that you can grow your followers the best. Because the thing that I've noticed with accounts, if they're not growing, is they're changing their core pillars a lot. So I like to talk about the pizza and the pasta story. If you go to a restaurant and you order a pizza and it's like the most delicious pizza you've ever had, what do you think about? The next day, I'm going to go back and get that pizza because it was so good. You go to the restaurant, but they've changed the menu and now it's spaghetti. You have the spaghetti and like it's not the same, so you leave and you don't come back. So your content, think of it as like culinary content. So what you're posting about, people are following you for that reason. And if you deviate too much from your pillars, that's when you lose followers. But you can post within your pillars and then add in your values over the top of it. So I think there's a balance in there.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I think, playing in that space. And like, I think we've both evolved and rebranded ourselves a few times over the years. And recently, and I was like, is it a trend or is it because I'm not doing what I used to do? But I've definitely seen my visibility and my engagement go down. But I'm hearing a lot of other women say the same. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Is the algorithm
messed up?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
Cool, so we can swear on this podcast.
Yeah. Are you hearing other people say that as well? Like, is there a reason why was working for a lot of people is now no longer working, or what do they need to do to pivot?
Yes, so there's more people on the platform. And that means you're fighting for more attention. And the whole thing on Instagram is an attention game. Whoever can hold the attention the longest wins. So it comes down to, okay, what sort of reels are going to captivate my audience? What sort of reels can keep them watching all the way till the end? What sort of reels are going to generate conversations? And then using all of the features possible inside Instagram as much as you can.
Yeah, you know, I feel like the whole like personal life versus business thing is so unique for every person. Like, I think that, like, I think about one of our girlfriends who she's built her entire community on sharing her life. And like, I wouldn't ever tell her to stop sharing her life because her community loves seeing her life. Like, they love seeing her live. They love seeing her opinions. She's very, like, she's not opinionated, but she's very forthcoming and upfront about what she thinks. And that's why she has the community she has. Whereas I'm thinking of like another business coach who has built an amazing business, and it's like it suits her to sell what she's selling all the time and not share her personal life. Because if she was sharing her personal life, I'd kind of be like, I just want to see like what your next.
You want the pizza, not the pasta.
Yeah. So I think it's different for everyone. I think test and measure.
Yes.
See what works. Ask your audience even, like, do you like seeing my personal life, or do you prefer me not sharing my kid being cute and my smoothie I make in the morning?
Yeah, well, you can even test on your story and ask your audience, hey, ask me anything. It could be business related or personal, and see what comes up the most.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'm like just thinking all the things. In regards to reels, like, I feel like that is all that, like, my feed is full of reels and that's all I post now. Like, do reels trend better than carousel posts? Like,
or static
post. Yeah. What's the goss on that one? What's the verdict? Tell us. You're the expert. I want to know all the things.
Yes. So I've had students with completely different accounts, different industries, and the way they use it determines how well it performs. So for example, someone who is a Pilates instructor, they tried reels and they tried doing, you know, the full exercise on it, but it just wasn't really working as well as a carousel where they had one on each slide was a different exercise. So when someone's in the gym, they open up the carousel and they look at the first lesson and they're watching that slide, they're doing the exercise over and over, then they swipe across to the next one, they're doing the exercise over and over. And so Instagram's like, oh, they're on this one post for so long, it must be really good content, so let's show it to more people. So for that account, it works really well.
Yeah, it's smart.
So you have to use it, trial it, test it, measure always.
So how does Instagram decide a reel is going to go viral? Because the way I've been taught is like, look for the little music that has the little trending thing, but then under 10,000 like users. Is that a rule? Like, what are the go-tos for going viral, and why would you want to go viral? Because I feel like sometimes people are chasing something viral and it's not really for the right intentions.
Okay, so let's settle this. There are coaches saying the audio needs to be less than 10,000. It does not matter. I've tested this. I've made a reel with audio that's not trending, and I've made a reel with audio that's trending, but it has over 150 users, and it did really, really well. So it doesn't have to be less than 10,000.
Okay.
But it does help if the audio is trending, because then Instagram goes, okay, let's show your reel to someone else who has used this audio. Let's show it to someone else who has liked this audio or saved it. So it's another way for Instagram to learn, who do I show your content to? And if they can show it to the right people, it's going to do really well. So they're just little signals for the algorithm. And okay, there's not one algorithm, there's many.
So many.
And there's different ways to rank in the feed, the Explorer, on your stories, with Reels and everything. So the best thing you can think of is, all right, how can I post consistently? So then Instagram learns you're an account I can trust to send people to. You're a TV series that I can send people to, and they will know, okay, you're going to be on every night, 7 p.m. It's going to be the Babes Talking Business show. And then if you were to stop posting for about a week, it'll take you a month to get back on track. So posted is better than not posting. I would definitely keep posting. And then the more you post, the more you learn, okay, this works, this doesn't work. And you get to that viral Reels faster. Now on viral Reels, so there's 3 different types of Reels you need to be posting. You need to be posting Reels to attract new people, Reels to connect with the followers you already have, and then Reels that convert. I wouldn't be aiming for a conversion Reel to be a viral Reel. It's just not going to sit right.
Yeah.
If you want to attract people, that's when you can try to do something that's going to be highly shared and highly saved. So they're either going to share it to their stories, which will then spread into their networks, or they're going to share it to their best friend and be like, haha, this is you.
Yeah, humor.
Yeah, like it's funny, it's relatable, it's shareable, and that's the more viral kind of content. Whereas the stuff that connects is the value, the teaching, and then conversion is a whole nother story.
Okay, I've got 2 questions, and these questions have been killing me. Like personally, like, who can I ask? And now I have you here to ask. Touching on the time thing, because I feel like an old algorithm that we heard was like, make sure you know your peak times to post. Like, you got to make sure you know when your target audience is for best engagement. Does it matter what time you post now? Is the algorithm more based on the consistency in posting at the same time every day, or should you post at certain peak times throughout the day when people are on social media? What's your stance on that one?
Again, my stance is very clear. Be consistent. If you can post roughly the same time every day, if that's your posting schedule, Instagram's going to love you. Like, okay, cool, let's get ready. She's about to post. And that's going to help your Instagram a lot versus an account that posts sporadically at different times.
Okay, that's me.
The same time. Just try to do the same time every day, but it doesn't matter what time.
I'm like, Ruby's asleep, I got to post.
Sometimes that's the thing. Like, I'm like, oh, like I used to, before I had a baby, my post was first thing up at 6 a.m. in the morning. But now I'm like, oh, like that's just not the thing. And then I'm like, finally, I've had my cacao. I'm sitting out in the sun. Stevie's playing. I'm like, oh, I had one ready, like to go. And then I'll post it. And it's like 9:30, 10. I'm like, oh, but now everyone's at work. Like, are people going to see it? Like, am I doing that wrong, or does it matter? Or should I try
you,
post?
Instagram? You make us get so in our heads.
I know, literally.
We're overthinking this way too much.
Are we?
I hear you though. Like before baby, I could post every day at a certain time. And then after baby, I'm the same. I love my cacao. After that, I'm awake. And the sun, I'm a solar panel.
Oh, me too.
And then
Us 3 would be best friends.
Okay. Outside of work would be mom friends. So I think if you can do what works for you and then stick to it, that's going to be really good for Instagram. And they can go, okay, we understand how you post. Let's do that. So I wouldn't try and post every single day if you can't maintain that, because you're just going to burn out and resent the whole process. So post at a time where you can actually reply to people and engage.
Like once you've posted.
Yeah. So you're training your audience when you're posting. So then they start to learn your habits and they go, oh, okay, she's posted. And also don't worry about posting at 9:30 because Instagram is global. Like,
Yeah.
Someone's always on.
Yes, someone's always on.
And then my other question, which I now have to think about, what was it? What were we talking about? Dang, I need to write these stuff down. Timing?
Do you know what I do while you think about that?
Yeah, I'll think.
I miss the chronological feed. I just want that back so much. You know, like when you used to like log into Instagram and it would just be like in order of who's posted. Sometimes I like, if I've ever got time, I'll go Instagram and choose that function because you can, bring it back. And it's crazy who you see. You're like, I never see you post.
Yes.
I remember the question.
Yes, I knew that would make you think.
Thank
about
you.
it.
Well
I feel like
done.
you'll value this question too.
Really
So
good posts.
we
Got
love
babe.
humor.
I'll do this.
We love humor. So like if you look at our Instagram, our inbox, we're like the girlfriends that share those memes to each other, but they're always the business memes. And we're like, we wanted to repost them on Babes Talking Business. But remember, we're like, that was going to be one of our strategies
I know
this year.
exactly what you're going to
I feel like you're going to be able to articulate this better. But so what's the
Yeah.
question? Can you
Okay.
ask it?
So we came up with a Instagram strategy for BTB and we were so proud of it. We were like, yeah, we're going to like, because we're like, don't take ourselves seriously. So we post funny shit and then we have the business value, you know, all of it. But one of the things we wanted to post was like, you know, those funny videos and that you just like put your own verbiage on it, like to, I don't know, what's an example? Like I did one for the Met Gala. It was like all the ridiculous outfits that they wore at the Met Gala. And I was like, this is what it looks like when someone copies you. And, or this is what it's like when you press send all on a really private email, like just like really funny stuff like that. And then there's like the video reels. Like we did one recently of a scene out of, what's that movie where they go on the Bucks night? Anyway, irrelevant. And we just said something funny on it and it got no engagement. And I was like, this is like the funniest reel I've ever made, but no one is seeing it. But the rule of the algorithm apparently is when you repost something that someone else has already posted, it will not give you visibility because you've essentially copied someone else's post, and then it'll give them the visibility and put their reel on your followers' feed. So I was like, well, there goes that example, because I get my inspo from like funny snippets of movies and repost it with my own verbiage on it. Do you know what I'm asking?
Exactly. Yeah. So Instagram recently has shared, like, we really want to help people with original content and push it out heaps. So what's happening is a lot of accounts are stealing content. So they'll download someone's reel and upload it as their own. So that's more of what they were talking about. So anytime someone reposts someone's full reel, then they're going to push out the original one so much more, which is great for creators because it sucks having your content copied or stolen or impersonated. But if you take the original one and you click like remix.
I was going to say, that's what we were doing. Is that, can you still do that?
You can remix as long as you've changed it a little bit. Or if you do a sequence, you know, you take a funny meme. Have you seen those ones where they're in the stretcher and they're rolling out of the stretcher? It is all tied up and then it cuts to someone else rolling and they continue the reel? No? Okay.
No, but that sounds like my style of reel.
So there's these viral videos and then people cut it and then continue on.
Oh, finish it.
Finish it. Yeah.
Okay, we can remix and do that.
But there's so many funny ones we send to each other and then I'm like, I want to remix it, but now I've been in my head like, we can't do that either. I'm like, oh, Instagram, keep ruining our fun.
So, okay, no, it sounds like we can remix like funny videos. We just have to put our own like spin on it with writing and just remix it.
Yeah, remix. Adding your own text, which is what you what's your jam is.
Yeah. Cool.
So we can use humor because we're funny, but I'd rather use other people's humor and put our funny on top of it, if that makes sense.
Double funny.
Double funny. That's what I'm about.
Tested funny, but then added funny.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. In saying that, before I've got some questions for you because I'm excited to know a little bit more about your business journey. But before we wrap up a little bow on this part, is there any advice you would give to women who are in the online space right now on to increase their visibility, or just any business tips that you think are really working for women right now?
Mm-hmm. I would highly recommend optimizing your profile, because if someone watches your reel, what are they going to do? They're going to go to your profile, and you want to make sure that it's going to convert followers. And the best way to do that is if someone goes to your page within like the first 3 seconds, they need to know this page is for me. I'm going to hit follow. So some people might read the bio, so you want it to be really clear who you help and how. Some people might go straight to your highlights, so you want to have a start here like welcome, let them hear your voice because that helps build trust and they can connect with you more. Tell them what to expect on your page and what your services are. Use the pin post. Maybe this person might go straight to what's on your pin profile. So if you can introduce yourself, share what your services are and testimonials, or even a quick win. So within 24 hours, if someone applies your knowledge and they get a quick win, you've got instant trust built and they go, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And that's going to help you convert followers a lot quicker.
Cool.
I love that.
Optimize the page.
Optimize.
All right. Well, let's talk about you because you've obviously built an incredible business. You give massive value. Your page is just like, it's like doing a course with you for free. It's amazing what you've created and I can see why you have so much success. So maybe let's talk about how business looks like for you now as a mama. You have a 1.5-year-old little girl. What's her name?
Charlotte.
What is it like now being a mama in business? Because obviously, like we definitely know, pre-baby, you've got all the time in the world and it's like, you know, you kind of waste time a little bit maybe. And then you have a baby and you're like, wow, I need to be very efficient. So what's it been like for you?
A huge transition, you know, as you know, matricence, going from maiden to the mother. And before I could work long hours and realize, oh, it's 3 o'clock and I've only eaten this cacao, healthy chocolate that my husband allows me because he's so good like that. And now it's like, oh, when can I work? When can I find the time? And then if you leave it too long, you get to the end of the day and you're like, early me was saying, yes, I'm going to do that at this time. And then later me's like, okay, I've had a disaster diaper. I've like just finished food. She didn't go to bed for like half an hour. Like I'm exhausted. I just need to rest now. And it's like, you can't work then. So I've had to learn where I'm most productive, what time of the day, and then locking that time slot in. So I'm really lucky that my husband works with me on the business. So he's home. And that allows me to create this routine where we wake up 5:30 in the morning. My baby's an early riser. Then we go for a morning swim, Noosa Main Beach. We grab a smoothie, maybe go to a market. If it's a market date, we're obsessed with, the farmers markets. Then we come home and I've got my hour or 2 hours of work, depending on how long hubby can entertain her at the playground. So that's my time slot. Then they come home, I have a nap with her. And we wake up, then it's lunch, then it's family time, then it's dinner time, bath, bed, all of that stuff. So I've only got like 1 hour of the day. And sometimes you put so much pressure on yourself to get so much done in that 1 hour that when you don't, you feel like you've failed. But what I have learned is if I just give myself one task to do in that hour and then I complete it, you feel really good and you get a lot done. And thinking back to when I first built my online course, the way I achieved it was through a 90-day sprint, and I broke everything down. So I had my 90-day goals, and then I broke that down into the 3-month goals. Then I broke that down into what are my 4-week goals for that 1 month, and then what do I have to do in that week to achieve it. Then on that day, what are the 3 simple things I have to do that by the end of the week I've achieved that week's goal. So then all I had was 3 simple things every day. And by the end of the month, you've completed your biggest task without even stressing or thinking, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's like, no, just 3 simple things. And that's how I did my course. That's how I built it, just doing little tasks every day that were all connected.
It's so powerful. We actually just read a book. I feel like we should get paid for sprucing this book. Was it 2X? I always say it wrong though. 10X is better than 2X. Have you heard of it? By Dan Sullivan. I think you'll love it. He's an organizational psychologist. But he talks about this too, is like, it's just about knowing what the high paying activities are. And I feel like even now as a mum, we've both been very efficient and productive our whole lives, and especially in business. But I used to work 8, 10, 12 hours a day in front of the computer because we could before kids, and like we loved it. And now I'm looking at like how much work I get done around Stevie. I'm like, I might work an hour or 2 hours on the days that she's with me, and we have a nanny that comes twice a week and I work when she's there then. But I'm like, how is it that I can get just as much done now in an hour or 2 hours a day than I used to doing 8, 10 hours a day? But it's like, like you said, like the 1 or 2 things that are actually going to move the needle, rather than trying to do all the things. You get to be a calmer person, but also you still get to move the needle by doing less. And I think a lot of people have this not a false belief, maybe not even a hallucination, maybe it's just a self-limiting belief that to create more, they've got to work harder and do more, when you can create more by doing less if you're focusing on the right things. Hey,
exactly, the 80-20 rule. 20% of the task give you 80% of the results.
And that's what the book actually really hones in on. It's so interesting. You hear it and then you read it like that again and you're like, I'm in a different phase of life. I get it now.
And then like the best time to apply it is when you step into parenthood and you're like, oh, now I've actually got no other choice but to get good at this.
The desperation instead of inspiration.
Seriously. And so looking back on your last 4 years, and we got a bit of an insight into like the evolution of your business and the pivots that you made. Having the business that you have now with over like how many, it's like you've got hundreds of thousands of followers too. Like you've got a really beautiful, engaged community. What do you think have been the 5 major moves that have allowed you to create the success that you have at the moment?
Great question. 5 major moves. So I touched on it earlier. The 90-day sprint was huge. Getting really clear on the small movable tasks that move the needle. That's big. The next thing that I did is I thought, all right, what is my brand identity? What can I do to be recognized and top of mind? And it was the pink suit.
I was literally going to say, it's the pink suit. I love it.
Every reel you see me in, on all my content, even interviews, sometimes people are surprised. They're like, I wasn't sure if you were going to wear a pink suit, but you were. Like, we just had this conversation.
I guess you would. That's why I did not wear green. I was going to wear my favorite green.
They would have looked great. We would have
two-piece.
complimented each other.
No, we would have clashed for sure. I'm so glad I went neutral. Anyway, continue. Brand.
Perfect
Yeah.
brand. So get really clear on like what is your brand vibe and your brand essence and sticking to that, because that's what builds a really strong, recognizable brand. The other things that I did is I did a lot of market research. So I looked at, okay, what's already in the market and where's the gap? What are people putting out there? What are the courses? What are the price ranges? What are the content? Then where do I fit in this? What's my point of difference? Finding your point of difference and really honing in on that. Even a way that you could do this is think, all right, here's a big account. This is what they're posting about. What's the opposite of that? Or you look at bad reviews and you say, all right, no, I lean into that and I actually do that. So if someone said, oh, this course is way too short, then you go, oh, my course is really short and this is why it's good. So, you could like find the gap in that way.
Cool.
What else did I do to make big moves? Yeah, the planning it out, brand recognition, and
they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Those three are pretty good.
They're pretty good. And getting really efficient with your time, hey?
Yes. Yeah. I feel like my haircut is my new brand thing.
It is. I love it. There's like an energetic shift between Shani with long hair and then Shani with short hair.
I like it. It's got
What's yours, Lozzie?
Old money vibe.
Oh, thanks. That's such a compliment. I'm all about them old money vibes.
What's been your biggest evolution in business yet?
Evolution, I would say when I shifted from an agency to a coach, that was the biggest shift, the biggest evolution. I was trading time for money and now it's leveraged. You've created the systems to bring in that passive income, and I'd say that's my biggest flex is I could do whatever I want on a Wednesday afternoon, be anywhere where I want to be. And I look at accounts similar to me and I think they are making ridiculous amount of dough, but I also see how hard they're working. Whereas I can do it passively and enjoy my time and be with my baby and my husband and not miss all those little moments. And I think that's the biggest flex at this point.
It's a big flex. I think we're both very passionate about freedom-based businesses. And even we were at a conference over the weekend and it was like, even just a reminder for me, like we're both very skilled and there's so many opportunities where we can go and apply ourselves and make a lot of money. But the way that we've both created wealth has been through residual and like passive ways. And like you can't put a price tag on freedom.
No, I think as well, like everybody has their version of success until they reach it. And then they're like, oh, actually, like I'm burnt out. I'm overwhelmed. I'm working around the clock. And I once read this quote and it's stuck with me forever. And it's every paycheck is worth it until you realize what it's cost you in life. And that just like hit home for me so much, especially in a phase of like business for me where I was like making all the money, but I was so exhausted. And it's like what you've just said is like my version of success now. I don't need to be working around the clock. I don't want to be. And if I was to choose like the paycheck versus the lifestyle, I definitely want the lifestyle with my little boy and just living like a freedom-based business lifestyle. So that is such a beautiful message for so many people, because I know so many people would be listening to this and they're hustling and grinding because they've got these incredible people that inspire them. But what's your version of success? Like, is it the money or is it the beautiful way that you can build a passive business? So cool.
And you can have both. You can have both.
You can.
And I think that's what I think I'm excited for people to be part of these conversations. That was a big intention behind this season this year, was like women may not have women in their circle or in their orbit, showing them that they can have both. They can be the beautiful present mama and the business owner, and you can be making fucking bank. And you just need to see women who are doing it in their feminine, or women. And we didn't just get here. Like this has been for you. It's been 4 years for you in business. It's been 8, nearly 9 years for us. And we've built it. We've learned, we've continuously evolved, and we've had to pivot. And yeah, I'm just excited for women to hear more of these conversations and feel like a pivot isn't a bad thing. Like you have to pivot. Change is inevitable.
And mistakes aren't bad either.
No.
Like making errors, like hiring the wrong coach and spending, the money, like that's a huge lesson in itself that will make you money in the future. It's just the way it works.
What's the best advice you've ever been given in business?
the best advice. I was 19 and I read this book. You've probably heard of it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
You're talking to like another. We should be affiliates.
The conference on the weekend, we were just sprucing that book too.
Amazing. So you're all over it. Yeah. You know that the poor dad symbolizes going to school, getting a job, and then climbing the corporate ladder, and then buying a house and being in debt, and then who knows what you're going to do next. And then the rich dad symbolizes, you know, taking calculated risk and investing and, you know, dreaming bigger and chasing your dreams. And for me, that helped shift my money blueprint. So I didn't realize that the blueprint I had was being passed on from my parents because that's what they grew up with. And then to read this book and realize, wow, there's another option. So then scrap that blueprint. Let's just make a new one. I think that was a huge shift. And then that catapulted me into personal development and really far down like the rabbit holes of conspiracies, and then like health and wellness, and then spirituality, and then like masculine, feminine, balancing business, and all of that stuff. So that was, I guess, the key pivoting point when I was 19. That is the biggest lesson I learned.
Wow, I was not 19 when I read that book. I wish I was.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're a few years down the track.
Like 28.
But same thing, like the
So
ripple effect that had on our lives as well.
Yeah.
Like I always love, have you read his wife's book, 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗓 𝗦𝗢𝗓, Rich Woman?
No, I didn't read her book.
That's a good one. Read that one. That's my favorite. Well, I think you found your people. I'm like, everything that you're talking about, we're like, yes, personal development, wealth creation, empowering women, health and wellness,
conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I think the girls that listen to this podcast are going to love you.
Yeah.
So where can they find you? You know, you've got a few different things happening. Where can they find you and how can they work with you?
Let's hang out on Instagram. That's the best. Just look up 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗓 Social. And, you know, if you like my vibe and you find my reels funny, let's hang out and chat on there. What you can do is you can DM me the word pink if you want to know a bit more about my services and stuff. We can chat that way. Yeah. And I have a big event coming up. The first time I'm doing this.
Tell us about it and where all the deets. I want to know, where is it? What is it? Spill the beans.
Online event. It's crazy. I have over 28 speakers, 3 days. And I've never done this before. So who knows how it's going to go down. I'm really excited though. And it'll be the first week of September.
Amazing. It's all around like Instagram, obviously, and growing your business on there.
Yes. So the event is called 𝗦𝗢𝗓 It's about igniting your online income potential. So it covers mindset, business, Instagram, a bit of everything.
Love it.
Love it.
Cool.
So before we let you go, I have one last rapid fire question for you. Who are you celebrating or appreciating this week?
This is a big one because I recently had a miscarriage and I opened up about that on Instagram. And what I found was all these women were messaging me by the hundreds saying, I had this happened to me, or I've had 3 miscarriages. The doctor said I could never have a kid. And then they fell pregnant and they have 4 beautiful kids. So there's so many stories like this. And yeah, I'm celebrating them. I'm celebrating all the women that had miscarriages and now have babies or have been through that journey and have come out the other end. It's just opened me up to how important life is. And death makes you realize what's really important.
Absolutely. I'm sorry to hear, beautiful, but I am celebrating all those women with you and all the women that haven't got their babies yet that are coming. It's it's a really beautiful honor.
It is. Thanks for coming and spending time with us, honey. We're so excited for all our community to come and find you, and I'm sure they'll see more of you.
It's so great. Thanks, ladies.
Yeah.